Guys, welcome back to another episode of Welch on Ice, and as you are all well aware, it is currently the Stanley Cup playoffs, but I thought we would take a different approach to the playoffs today.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Today we are going to be seeing who is the beast of the bottom feeders. So what do I mean by that? Who is the best team of the teams that did not make the playoffs? That's right, you heard me. We are going to be doing a playoff mode where we punch in all of the teams that didn't make the playoffs, and we're going to see which team could win. We'll call it the Consolation Stanley Cup.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
So as you can see, we've got all of the teams who did not make the playoffs. I did a 1-8 style, so as you can see in the West, the St. Louis Blues were the first team in the standings that didn't make the playoffs, and Vancouver was the last. So we got St. Louis versus Vancouver. Then the next team under St. Louis was Nashville, so jump down 2. We got Nashville versus Chicago, San Jose versus Calgary, and Winnipeg versus Seattle. Over in the East, we got Washington versus the Rangers, and then Detroit was underneath Washington in the standings, so I put them against the Maple Leafs, the Columbus Blue Jackets against the Florida Panthers, and the New York Islanders versus the New Jersey Devils. So this is going to be a best of 7 series for each of these rounds, so we are going to see which team is able to win. We're going to start our playoffs in 3, 2, 1.
We have a liftoff.
Okay, so we got Vancouver versus St. Louis to start this out. I gave each team who is the better seed home ice advantage. So we are going to simulate each game and just going to see what teams take the wins. Vancouver is on the board first versus St. Louis. St. Louis strikes back twice, though, in the second period with Ramos Tanis and Pui Sutter. And St. Louis wins game 1. So St. Louis is up 1-0. We're just going to be going down the list here. Nashville and Chicago is the next game. We'll see who takes the cake. Oops. I pressed the wrong simulation. Chicago wins game 1. I don't think there's a way to see the box score. My bad, guys. I pressed the wrong button. Chicago takes game 1. Jump over to the East now. Washington versus the Rangers. Washington goes up 1-0 in the first period. New York Rangers bounce back, tie it at 1 apiece, and the Rangers win game 1. So we could potentially see a little bit of an upset. I know it's a long series, but we're going to have to see. So Rangers are up 1-0 now. Toronto versus Detroit. So Detroit gets the home ice advantage in this game. Detroit goes up 2-1 in the first. The Leafs, though, bounce back and go 3-2. And we're seeing our very first overtime game of the playoffs. Detroit takes the cake in overtime. Lucas Raymond scores a goal, and Detroit goes up 1-0. Jumping back over to the West, we got Calgary versus San Jose. See who wins this game. San Jose up 1-0 after 1. Calgary ties it at 1 apiece, and both teams score goals, so we're going to overtime once again. And it is 3-2 for Calgary. The captain, Backlund, scores a goal. Seattle versus Winnipeg. Who's going to win in this game? We've got Seattle with a commanding 4-goal period in the first. But will Winnipeg have what it takes to make a comeback? 5-2. It's not looking very likely. And yeah, Seattle just stomped all over Winnipeg. 7-2 in game number 1. Back over to the East, Florida versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. 0-0, so a scoreless game so far, but Columbus has something to say about that, and they go up 4-0 and win the game 5-1. So this is our last game 1 that we have today. We're gonna see who wins it. It's between the Devils and the Islanders, tied through 1. The Devils go up 1-0 in the second, and it's tied 2-2 going to overtime. But the Devils, Mercer with the second goal of the game, wins it for the Devils, and they go up 1-0. So game 1s are done across the board. St. Louis is up, Calgary, Chicago, Seattle in the West. Those are the teams that are up right now. The Rangers, Detroit, Columbus, and the Devils are up in the East. Jumping over to game 2 now, Vancouver versus St. Louis. Let's see who wins this game. St. Louis goes up 1-0, still 1-0, and Vancouver goes 3-1. If my memory's right, and my memory's not very long, but that series is tied at 1 apiece. Chicago versus Nashville will actually simulate the right way this time. see how this game goes out. Nashville's up 2-1 after the first, then goes up 4-1 after the second with Stamkos and Riley scoring, and they win the game 5-3. Jumping over to the East, Washington took game 1. We're going to see if the Rangers took game 1. We're going to see if Washington can bounce back. The Rangers score first, then it's after 2, it's 2-1 for the Rangers, and they lose. Washington with an outstanding third period. Ovi with 2 goals, and they win the game 5-3. So this series is also now tied at 1 apiece. Detroit and Toronto, let's see if Detroit can go up 2-0 or if Toronto can bounce back. 4-1 period for Detroit, that's pretty great. 5-2 for Detroit now, and Toronto tries to make a little bit of a comeback. Michelli gets a pair of goals in the third, but it's not enough, and Detroit is our first team to go up 2-0 in a series. Calgary and San Jose now. Calgary took the first game. It's tied 2-2 after 1. San Jose goes up 4-3, and San Jose wins the game 4-5 or 5-4. I don't know why I said 4-5. That's really odd, actually.
Okay.
But this series is also now tied at 1. So Detroit's still the first team to take 2 games. So let's see if Seattle can match them. They go up 1-0 in the first period. They go up 2-0. Are they going to get the shutout in this game? They don't, because wow, what a third period. And we're going to overtime, 4-4. Who would have thought that would have happened? Not me. First overtime is complete. Nothing happened here, but Winnipeg takes it in second OT with about 2 minutes left, or 2 minutes in, I should say. My bad. And they are also tied at 1 apiece. Florida and Columbus. Let's see, does Florida win this game or does Columbus go up 2-0? Florida's winning 2-1 after 1. They go 3-1 after 2, and oh my goodness, 7-1. Florida said, "Nuh-uh, we are in this," and it is 1-1 at that series as well. We got the New Jersey Devils versus the New York Islanders. Let's see, can the Islanders tie this series as well, or will New Jersey come on top? New Jersey gets 1 after the first period. They're up 2-1 after the second. Can they hold on to the lead? And they do with force. 6-2, New Jersey wins, and New Jersey goes up 2-0 in this series. Game 2s are all done. Detroit and New Jersey are the only teams to go up 2-0, and the rest of the series are all tied at 1 apiece. Game 3, Seattle and Vancouver. Vancouver's got the home ice now, and they go up 1-0 in the first. This is a big game. St. Louis goes up 2-1 in the second, and then St. Louis wins 5-2. So the first home ice game in Vancouver does not go their way, and St. Louis takes the cake in this one. They go up 2-1 in the series. Nashville and Chicago now, 0-0 after 1. 1-0 after 2 for Nashville, and Nashville blanks the Blackhawks and win this game 2-0. Washington and the Rangers now. Remember, Washington had a really big comeback in the last game. 3-0 for Washington, starting off hot. 4-1 after 2 now, and 4-2. The Rangers had a little bit of pushback in the third, but look at those shots on goal. Washington 39 to the Rangers 28. It seemed like they just had control of the whole game. Detroit and Toronto. Toronto's at home now, looking to get their first win in the playoffs. Detroit goes up 1-0 in the first. They go up 3-0 in the second, and 4-1. Domi gets a goal, but it is not enough. Now we're playing with the rosters at the very end of the season, so Matthews isn't in this roster, so it's pretty evident that the Leafs are pretty bad without their captain in the lineup. 4-1. Detroit goes up 3-0. Will the Leafs get swept? That would make my heart very sad, but you know what? I could see it happening. San Jose versus Calgary. 1-1 is the series. Let's see who takes the lead. Calgary's the home team this game, and they go up 1-0 in the first period, and then go up 4-0 in the second. Seems like home ice is really in their favor. And San Jose, a little pushback, but again, not enough. 4-1. Calgary takes a 2-1 series lead. And we're jumping over to Seattle now to see if they can take a 2-1 lead. They're the home ice team. They also go up 1-0 in the first, 2-0 in the second, and Winnipeg tries to make a little bit of pushback, or make a little bit of a comeback, but they can't seal the deal, and 2-1 for Seattle in the game and in the series. Columbus and Florida also tied at 1s. Let's see, how does this game go? Florida's up 1-0. Then Columbus goes up 3-1 in the second, and they take the win 4-1 in the third. Columbus is the team to go up 2-1 in this series. Now
Today, Junior.
the New Jersey Devils are up 2-0 on the Islanders. So let's see, do the Islanders get a goal? Now the Devils both won. Whoa. The Devils won both of their games in Long Island. So let's see, do they take both games at home as well? 0-0 after 1, 2-1 for the Islanders after 2. And the Islanders win 3-1 in the series. So far in the series, the road team has won every single game. So that is very interesting. Matthew Schaefer, I think that's his first goal in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Good for him. I'm very excited to see him play in future Stanley Cup playoffs. But the Islanders get their name on the score sheet, and the series is now 2-1 for the Devils. So through game 3 in the West, the Blues, Calgary, Nashville, and the Kraken all have a 2-1 series lead over their teams. It's probably easier to look at it this way. And then jumping over to the East, the Capitals, the Blue Jackets, and the Devils all have a 2-1 series lead, while Detroit is looking to get out their brooms and sweep the Toronto Maple Leafs. That would just be absolutely hilarious if the Leafs got swept. That'd be really funny. But we're jumping over to game 4s now. And so St. Louis versus Vancouver. Let's see how they do. Does Vancouver tie the series at 2, or does St. Louis put Vancouver on their heels a little bit? 0-0 after 1, 2-1 for St. Louis after the second period, and 5-2 for St. Louis. So St. Louis goes up 3-1 in the series, and Vancouver is on the brink of elimination now. Nashville and Chicago. Nashville's looking to do the exact same thing that St. Louis did to Vancouver. After 1, it's 0-0. After 2, it's 1-1. And after 3, we are still tied, so we are going to be going into overtime. And Chicago takes the cake. Chicago wins 2-1 and ties the series at 2 apiece. So that series is pretty even. That's a pretty even Steven series. Washington versus the New York Rangers now. We got 3-1 for Washington over the Rangers in the first period. Washington just seems to score in bunches. However, no goals in the second period, and 4-2 is the game. Washington takes a 3-1 series lead over the New York Rangers, and they're looking to slash the Rangers out of this. But speaking of slashing teams out, Toronto is on the brink of elimination here. So let's see, does Detroit finish the job and defeat the Toronto Maple Leafs? 2-1 for Toronto, so they're not going down without a fight. 4-1 at the end of 2. Will Detroit come back on top this period? They do not, and the Leafs finally put their name on the board, and they're not getting blanked. San Jose versus Calgary now, game 4 action. Calgary's looking to take a 3-1 series lead, and they go up 1-0 in the first period. It's still 1-0 after the second, but San Jose, Kiefer Sherwood ties it up in the third period, and they're going to overtime, where Ostapchuk beats Wolf in overtime, and San Jose wins this game to tie the series at 2. So Winnipeg versus Seattle now. Seattle's looking to go up 3-1. Winnipeg's looking to tie, and Seattle 3-0 in the first period. 4-1 for Seattle after 2, and no goals in the third. So Seattle is going up in the series 3-1 with this 4-1 win. Jumping over to the East now, Columbus versus Florida. Florida is at home this game, so they're looking to win. Although Columbus took the last game in Florida's barn. 1-1 after 3 periods, and we are going to overtime. It is Florida who wins. Sam Bennett scores in overtime to win, and they tie the series up at 2. And our last game 4 is the New York Islanders versus the New Jersey Devils. Again, every road team in this series has won a game. New Jersey's looking to flip the script here, and they go up 3-0 in the first. And it looks like they are flipping the script. 7-0 in the second, and they win 9-1. That's not even close. If you're an Islanders fan, you might want to shut your eyes, because this is not pretty.
This is the worst. This is the worst. You are the worst. I hate looking at your face. I want to smash it.
The series is now 3-1 for the New Jersey Devils. So after game 4, we're looking at 3-1 for the St. Louis Blues, 2-2 with Calgary and San Jose, 2-2 with Nashville and Chicago, and then Seattle is up 3-1 versus the Winnipeg Jets. Over in the East, the Capitals are up 3-1, 2-2 for the Blue Jackets and the Panthers. The Leafs stayed alive, and their series is now 3-1 in favor of Detroit, and the New Jersey Devils, with that crazy huge 9-1 victory, take a 3-1 lead over the New York Islanders. So through 4 games, no teams are out. There were no sweeps in the first round, and we are jumping into game 5 now. Vancouver versus Seattle. Vancouver's looking to stay alive, but Seattle is looking to axe them out. So Seattle is up 1-0. Vancouver, though, not going down without a fight, makes it 1-1 after 2. And after this, the third period, St. Louis wins 2-1, and the first team eliminated. I mean, we could all see this coming. Sorry, Vancouver fans. It is the Vancouver Canucks, and Seattle takes the series in 5. Now, Chicago and Nashville, neither of these teams are in elimination type situations, so they are just looking to get some advantages here. Chicago would love to win this game and go back home with the series lead, and they go up 1-0 in the first period. It's still 1-0 after the second, and they hold on for a 2-0 victory, and up in the series 3-2, going home for the next game. So they're looking to win this series in front of their home fans. The Rangers in Washington now. Washington is looking to cut the Rangers out of the competition. Let's see, do they score in bunches this game? So far, no, but they do get on the board, and it's 1-0 for Washington versus the Rangers. And here's the bunches of goals. 4-0 Washington over the Rangers. The Rangers really need a miracle to come back in this game, and they only get 1 goal, so the New York Rangers are eliminated by the Washington Capitals. Eliminated. That's what I meant to say. Eliminated.
You sure about that?
Toronto versus Detroit. Detroit's looking to finish what they couldn't in the last game and take this series. They're at home this game. They just wanted to wait until they were in front of their home fans. 1-1 after the first period. 2-1 after the second period. Toronto needs to score a goal here in the third to stay alive. And they don't only get 1, they get 2. Simone Benoit with a short-handed game-winning goal. Who would have ever thought Simone Benoit would score a short-handed goal in his career? Not me. But the Leafs stay alive, and 3-2 is the game score, and they are down 3-2 in the series. Calgary and San Jose are also tied at 2 apiece, so we're going to see which team can come out on top. Calgary, like Chicago, wants to win this game to go home with the advantage, and they go up 2-0. San Jose, with a little bit of fight in the second, makes it 2-1. But Calgary ultimately holds on for a 3-2 victory. So Calgary, just like Chicago, is going back to their home with the series lead 3-2. Seattle and Winnipeg are playing now. Winnipeg's the home team, and they're looking to put on a show in front of their home fans and stay alive. 0-0 after 1. 1-0 for Seattle after 2, and Winnipeg needs to score this period if they want to keep fighting in these playoffs. Not only do they score, but they score 3 and take the win 3-2 and stay alive. So Seattle has a 3-2 series lead over the Winnipeg Jets. Jumping over to the East now, Florida and Columbus are tied at 2s. Florida, just like Calgary, just like Chicago, want to do the same and go back home with the series lead. But Columbus has something to say about it, and they go up 4-0 in the first period. Florida, with a bit of pushback in the second, makes it 4-1, and ultimately Columbus wins the game 5-1, and Columbus goes up 3-2 in the series. The New Jersey Devils are looking to axe out the New York Islanders. The Islanders go up 2-1 after the first period, 4-2 after the second for the Islanders, and the Islanders hold on and make the series 3-2. All of our game 5s are done, and we have 2 series that are finished now. St. Louis beat the Vancouver Canucks out, and the Washington Capitals beat the New York Rangers out. Both of the bottom teams in their respective conferences have been eliminated. Vancouver and the Rangers, I'm sorry, your time is up. The other series, Calgary, Chicago, and Seattle all have a 3-2 series lead. Columbus Blue Jackets, the Detroit Red Wings, and the New Jersey Devils also have a 3-2 series lead over their teams. So it's going to be a very interesting finish of the first round. We're really gonna have to see who can dig deep and come out on top. So Nashville versus Chicago now, game 6. Chicago's at home with the series lead. It's 1-1 after the first, 3-3 after the second. So big third period coming up here. and it is 5-4 for Chicago. Connor Bedard with the game-winning goal in his first ever Stanley Cup playoff experience, or Stanley Cup playoff series. Chicago wins the series 4-2 over the Nashville Predators. Detroit versus Toronto now. Once again, Detroit's looking to do what they couldn't do in Game 5, looking to do what they couldn't do in Game 4, looking to do what they couldn't do in Game 5, and win this series. Toronto's at home, but Detroit takes a 1-0 lead. Toronto ties it up at 1 apiece. Big third period here, and we are looking at going into overtime. Who is going to win this game? And Max Domi with a big overtime goal forces a Game 7. You heard it here first, folks. Game 7 coming your way between the Maple Leafs and the Red Wings. That will be prime entertainment.
Are you not entertained?
San Jose versus Calgary. Now, Calgary is up 3-2 in the series and is at home, so they are looking to follow the trend that Chicago is setting before them. However, San Jose goes up 1-0 after 1. Calgary goes up 2-1 after 2, so big period. Backlund gets a power play goal, Gridden gets a goal, and let's see. San Jose staying alive and forcing an overtime with a goal from Wenberg. But ultimately, Backlund with a shorthanded goal. That's our second shorthanded goal we've seen in this playoffs. Calgary beats out the San Jose Sharks. Winnipeg versus Seattle now. Seattle's looking to scratch Winnipeg's name off of the Stanley Cup playoff tree. 0-0 after 1. 0-0 after 2. Does the trend continue, or does the team score? This was a goalie's duel, but ultimately Winnipeg stays alive with a goal from Sandberg. Look at that, 36-26 were the shots for Winnipeg, so they were really pushing to stay alive, and ultimately they came out on top and force a Game 7. Now we got Columbus versus Florida. Columbus is up 3-2, but Florida is the home team, so they're looking to stay alive in front of their hometown fans. 4-1, the score after 1 for Florida, who, again, like I just said, looking to put on a show for their hometown fans. They go up 5-1, and Columbus really needs a miracle if they want to take this game in 6, but 6-1 is the score, and Florida is forcing a Game 7 with force. And the New Jersey Devils are looking to blank the Islanders in this game. We're going to see what happens here. They go up 2-0, and then 3-2 for the New Jersey Devils after 2, so New York is not going down without a fight, and they tie it up with a goal from Andre Palat. We are going into overtime, and look at that. Bo Horvat himself gets a goal on Markstrom, and they are forcing a Game 7 as well. They were down 2-0 in the series, then they went down 3-1, and then here we are forcing a Game 7. There is fight for the New York Islanders. Going into Game 7s, we've got the Seattle Kraken against the Winnipeg Jets. We've got the Florida Panthers and the Columbus Blue Jackets. We got the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Detroit Red Wings, and we got the New Jersey Devils and the New York Islanders. So we have 4 series, so half of our series have to be decided in 7. Chicago, Calgary, both win in this round. Toronto and Detroit. Toronto's looking to do the reverse sweep. Will they do it? Detroit goes up 1-0 in the first period. They hold that lead throughout the second, and this is going to be a very, very interesting third period here. They take the win 3-1. They just kept Toronto fans in it just to say, oh yeah, Toronto just loses in 7 all the time. Why not? Lorentz is the only Toronto player who scored for them this game. I haven't seen Willie Nylander at all throughout this entire series, or Johnny T. It's just been goals from Benoit, shorthanded, and Domi, really, and Michelli. But look at that. JVR, ex-Leaf, says, you're done.
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Detroit fans were probably sitting on the edge of their seat a little bit nervous, but they do take the series. Jumping over to the West, Seattle and Winnipeg. Winnipeg, whoa, frog in my throat. Seattle takes a 1-0 lead in the first period, but Winnipeg has a big second period and goes up 4-2. Does Seattle hold on, or does Winnipeg take it? And Winnipeg with a comeback. They were down 3-1 in the series, and then they said, "Nuh-uh, we are not done yet." What a comeback for Winnipeg. So Canada's hopes are alive with Calgary and Winnipeg now. The Leafs have been eliminated, but those are the only two Canadian teams left in the playoffs. Florida and Columbus now. Let's see who wins this series. Florida was up, Columbus was up. It's been a back and forth series the whole way through. Florida goes up 2-1 after the first period. Columbus, though, ties it up 2-2 after the second, and both teams get a goal here. Our first Game 7 overtime. It's going to be very curious to see which team comes out on top here. And it is Florida. Hinostroza gets a goal 3 minutes into overtime. Florida wins it. Those pesky Panthers just don't want to quit. Our last Game 7 now. We've got the Devils versus the Islanders. The Islanders have the home ice advantage, and they have been trying to claw their way back into the series the whole way through, and they go up 2-0 with a pair of goals from Callum Ritchie in the first period. 2-0 still through the second, and they shut out the New Jersey Devils. So after pretty much trailing the entire series, they win this in 7.
I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving.
So now we're looking at our next round of the playoffs. So we still got the St. Louis Blues versus the Calgary Flames. We got the Winnipeg Jets versus the Chicago Blackhawks. And then over in the East, we got the Capitals versus Florida, which I'm very excited to see that one play out. And then we have Detroit Red Wings and the New York Islanders. So right now, guys, I would like to say take this time to comment which team do you think is going to win. Out of the 8 teams that are remaining, which team do you think is going to win? And while you're commenting, make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. We are making lots of content here at Welch On-Ice, and so it is time for you to join our channel. That was a weird way to say it. Just hit the subscribe button. Forget the rest. Game 1 of round 2, Calgary versus St. Louis. This is going to be a very interesting matchup. Calgary, wow. Big first period. They go up 5-0 in the first, and they don't stop there. 8-1 after 2. Is this going to be our first double-digit game for a team? It, in fact, is, and Calgary says, oh, you guys thought you were good? We'll just score 11 goals on you.
Feeling hot, hot, hot. Feeling hot, hot, hot.
I forgot to take the time to look at the player statistics, and so I mean, I know that Calgary just had a big 11-goal game, so these Calgary players that we're seeing here may not have been here before this 11-goal game, but some notable players from the first round. Timo Meier had 10 points through 7 games. Nick Lardis had 9 points in 6 games. The goal leader right now, I think Backlund had a goal in the last game. So through the first round, we're looking at Lardis and DeBrincat, Perfetti, Stevenson. As far as goalies go, Wolf, obviously, he just won a game, but if we're looking at save percentage, we got Grubauer. Now I'm guessing these goalies were goalies who came in after blowout games, but as far as goalies who played lots of games, we got Bennington with a pretty solid save percentage, Logan Thompson as well with a good goals against average too. We've only seen 4 shutouts so far in the playoffs, so it'll be very interesting. So those are the stats after round 1. I know we just played the first game of round 2, but I forgot to look at the stats. My bad. Chicago versus Winnipeg. Let's see how this game rolls out here. Winnipeg just is coming off of a comeback series win against the Seattle Kraken. Tie 1-1 after the first period, but they do go up then 2-1 after 2, and then Winnipeg takes game 1 at 5-2. Florida versus Washington now. Florida goes up 2-0 against Washington, but we all know that Washington scores in bunches, but Florida too tends to score in bunches. 5-0 for Florida. Does Washington have it in them? They do not, and they lose game 1 5-1, so Florida goes up in this series early. Detroit versus the Islanders now. This will be a very interesting matchup as well. We got 2-1 for Detroit through 1 period. The score is the same through 2, and Detroit wins the first game 4-3. Horvat had a pair of goals in the third period, but it wasn't quite enough to get the Islanders on top. So through game 1 now, Calgary, Winnipeg, Florida, and Detroit have taken series leads. So game 2 now, Calgary and St. Louis. St. Louis is looking to have a big bounce back after their 11-3 loss. They go up 1-0 after 1. The score is tied at 2s after 2, and St. Louis comes out on top and wins game 2 4-2 to even up the series. Chicago is looking to beat Winnipeg this game. They go up 1-0 in the first, but Winnipeg ties it up in the second. and Chicago wins 2-1 from a goal from Levshinov in the third period. Florida and Washington now. We're going to see who wins this game. Florida went up big and won 5-1 in the first game. 0-0 after 1, 1-1 after 2, and Florida wins 4-2 after 2 periods. So Florida is the first team to go up 2-0 in their series. We'll see if Detroit can do the same, or if the Islanders continue the trend of other teams and tie up the series. The Islanders go up 2-0 after 1. They go up 3-1 after 2, and they hold on for a 4-2 victory to tie up the series at 1. So each series is tied at 1 apiece, except for Florida, who has beaten Washington in 2 so far. So game 3, Seattle versus Calgary. Who's going to come out on top here? Calgary's got home ice advantage now. 0-0 after 2 periods. Let's see. Do we have a big third period, or is it still 0-0? Calgary wins 3-0. Wolf gets a shutout in game 3, and Calgary goes up 2-1 in their series. Winnipeg also looking to go up in their series. Chicago looking to go up as well. It could really go either way. Chicago takes this game takes the first period 2-0. Winnipeg goes up, words are hard sometimes. Winnipeg scores a goal in the second, but it's still 2-1 for Chicago, and Chicago wins the game 4-1 with a goal from Bedard and Burakovsky. Jumping over to the East, Florida's looking to go up 3-0 on Washington. They start the game off with 1-goal lead. Through 2, though, Washington ties it at 2-2, and then 5-3, Washington says, "Nuh-uh, we are getting a win this series," and they take the first game in Florida. The Islanders and Detroit also tied at 1, so we'll see who comes out on top here. 2-0 for Detroit after the first period. The score is the same after the second, and Detroit blanks the Islanders, and Gibson gets a shutout. Detroit goes up 2-1 in their series. So every single series now is 2-1. So Calgary is over St. Louis, Chicago is over Winnipeg, Florida is over the Capitals, and Detroit are over the Islanders. Game 4 now, we're going to see if we have some tied series or if teams start to break away. 1-1 between Calgary and St. Louis after the first period. 2-1 for St. Louis after 2, and Calgary with a comeback victory. They win the game 4-3 to go up 3-1 in the series. Winnipeg and Chicago now are looking to see what happens in this game. 1-0 for Winnipeg after the first period, 3-0 for Winnipeg after the second, and 6-1. So that was a big game for Winnipeg. Lardis was the only person on Chicago to score a goal, and Winnipeg ties the series up at 2. Washington is also looking to tie the series up at 2 here. The game's in Florida though, and Florida goes up 3-2 in the first period. Lots of goals for the first, 3 goals in the second period to make the game 4-4, and the third period, Volkvist scores for Florida, and they go up in the series 3-1. Washington is the second team, in addition with St. Louis, to be now on the brink of elimination. The Islanders are looking to avoid that by winning this game and tying up the series, and it's 0-0 after 1 period, 0-0 after 2 periods. We've seen this before, and 5-0 for Detroit after the third period. Big third period for Detroit. The Islanders are just caught sleeping this series so far. The Islanders are down 3-1. So now we have 3 teams who are on the brink of elimination. We've got the St. Louis Blues, the Washington Capitals, and the New York Islanders, who are all on their heels, while Winnipeg and Chicago are laughing at 2 apiece. Let's see, can Calgary finish the St. Louis Blues off? They were the top team in the West. Will they be the underdog story here? Calgary goes up 1-0 after the first period. They go up 2-0 after the third, and St. Louis needs a miracle here. 4-1 is the final score. Calgary wins the game, and they win the series by the same score, 4-1. Chicago and Winnipeg. Winnipeg is looking to break ahead, but Chicago's been in this position before and looking to take the series lead going back home. Winnipeg goes up 1-0 after the first period. They keep their lead at a score of 2-1 after the second period, and Chicago, big third period. Bedard gets a goal, and then a pair of goals from Slaggert, who low-key I've never heard of before, but good on him. He gives Chicago the series lead heading back home for game 6. Florida is looking to eliminate Washington now. We'll see what's in store for this game. 2-1 for Washington. They're not going down without a fight. Ovi gets a goal here, but Florida ties it up 2-2 after 2, and we are going to overtime. So very, very curious to see what happens here. And Florida, Hinostroza with another overtime goal. It's not his first of the playoffs. It is his second overtime goal of the playoffs. They win 3-2 over Washington to defeat the Washington Capitals, who were the top team in the East. So now both of the top teams in each conference have been eliminated. So this has shaped up to be a very, very interesting consolation Stanley Cup bracket. The Islanders versus Detroit. Now the Islanders are looking to stay alive. It's 1-1 after the first period, 2-2 after the second period. Is it going to be 3-3 after the next? It is. Look at that. And we are going to overtime. Who is going to come out on top? Will it be Detroit to take the series, or will the Islanders force a game 6? First overtime is complete in the books and no goals to show for it. What happens here in the second overtime? Pajot gets a goal and the Islanders take the game and force a game 6. Islanders fans, you can sleep one more night knowing that your team is still in it. So Calgary and Florida have moved on to the conference finals. Now it's game 6. Chicago's looking to take out Winnipeg, and the Detroit Red Wings are looking to take out the Islanders. Let's see what's in store for game 6 here. After the first period, Chicago goes up 3-0 on Winnipeg, so it's looking pretty bleak for the Jets, but greater things have happened before. They're really going to need a miracle here in the third after they don't get any goals in the second. 5-2 is your final, and Chicago has taken out the Winnipeg Jets. Detroit is now looking to do the same to the New York Islanders. Let's see what happens here. 2-1 in favor of the Islanders going into the second period, but Detroit gets 2 goals from Comfer and James Van Riemsdyk to go 3-2 in the second. The Islanders really need to have a rally third period here, and they do. They get 3 goals, one from Schaefer, one from Barzal, one from Pajot. Comper gets a shorthanded goal, but look at that, 5-4. We have a game 7, Detroit and the Islanders. Detroit's got the home ice advantage here. Let's see, does that work out in their favor, or will the Islanders have a incredible comeback? It's 1-1 after 1, goals from Lee and Sider. 2-1 in favor of the New York Islanders, a goal from Matthew Schaefer. Will they hold on to have this comeback victory, or will Detroit do what the Islanders did in the last game and come back? 5-3 for Detroit. Big third period. Horvat does score for the Islanders, but it is not enough because they threw the game and Detroit takes the series. So looking at our conference finals now, we got the Calgary Flames versus the Chicago Blackhawks. We've got the Detroit Red Wings versus the Florida Panthers. And this is going to be very interesting to see how it shakes out. Again, let me know in the comments. We're in the conference final. What team is going to win? Who do you think is going to take the Consolation Stanley Cup prize? Through 2 rounds of play, Teuvo Teravainen is your scoring leader. 12 games, 18 points, followed by Backlund, Lardis, and DeBrincat close behind. Bedard also has 14 points here. Your goal leader is going to be Nick Lardis with the Chicago Blackhawks. DeBrincat's right behind him with 9 goals. Horvat, he put up a pretty good postseason, 13 points in 14 games, but it wasn't quite enough. But now, the conference final. Who is going to take home each conference? Starting over in the West, we got Chicago versus Calgary. Calgary's got the home ice advantage in this series, and it's tied at 1-1. Chicago goes up 4-1. Frondel with a pair of goals. Was that actually his 3rd goal of the game? Frondel gets a hat trick in the second period, and so that's pretty big for Chicago. And Chicago goes up 5-1 with a goal from Ilya Mikheyev, fastest player alive.
And off McDavid and back down into the Edmonton zone. Foot race, and Mikheyev trying to angle his way onto the puck.
So Chicago goes up 1-0 in their series. What's going to happen over in Detroit, who has the home ice advantage over the Florida Panthers? Again, 1-1 through 1, 3-1 for Florida after 2, 5-3 for Florida. So far the road team has taken both games here in the conference finals. Chicago and Calgary. Again, Chicago is up. What are they up? They're up 1-0 because it's only game 2. 2-1 for Chicago after 1. 2-1 still after 2. And in the third period, Chicago scores 2 more to make it 4-1. So Chicago's going up 2-0 in the series. They've taken both games in Calgary. Calgary is kind of probably crossing their fingers. Will Detroit do the same, or will Florida, do the same to Detroit? Words are hard. 1-1 after 1, still 1-1 after 2. Who's going to take this game? Florida does 4-3. There was a good fight, but ultimately AJ Greer scores for the Florida Panthers. But Florida goes up 2-1 or 2-0, sorry, in the series. So both series are 2-0. Road teams have won every single game in both series so far. So Calgary's looking to hop on the trend and take their first game in the series. 0-0 after 1, 4-2. Big 6-goal period from each team here, and so 4-2 for Calgary through the second period. Can they hold on to the lead? And they do, and they win 6-3. Backlund with another goal. He's trying to catch Nick Lardis in the goal count here. Calgary takes their first game to make it a 2-1 series. Detroit looking to do the same, or Florida might come out with a 3-0 series win. We'll see. Detroit goes up 2-1 in the first period. 5-4 for Detroit through the second period. That was a big, again, 6-goal period in the second period. AJ Greer with another goal. And Florida gets the comeback victory. Another goal from AJ Greer. Was that 3 this game for him? It is. AJ Greer, have yourself a game. You've got 1, 2, 3 goals. That's a hat trick. 7-5. Florida wins the game. Who would have had AJ Greer getting a hat trick on their bingo card? Because not me. Chicago and Calgary back over in the West. Chicago's up 2-1. It's 1-1 through 1. Chicago goes up 2-1, and they're looking to get a 3-1 series lead here. But Calgary has something to say about it, and Ryan Strome gets the game-winning goal. So Calgary has tied the series up at 2s. Florida is looking to sweep Detroit in the conference final. Detroit might become the next Carolina Hurricanes here if they get swept. It's 0-0 after 1, 0-0 again after 2, and big third period here. Florida, AJ Greer, the man of the series. What an outstanding series for him. He's got, I think that's 5 goals now this series in 4 games. Florida sweeps Detroit. So Chicago and Calgary, meanwhile, are deadlocked at 2 aside. Let's see who can come out on top. Chicago, once again, has been in this position where they're tied at 2 for the 3rd series in a row, looking to take a 3-2 series lead going home. They go up 2-1. Calgary, though, has a big second period from Frost and Pospisil. I'm going to call him Popsicle. 3-2 for Calgary through 2 periods, but Chicago ties it up with a goal from Ryan Donato, and we're going into overtime. Who's going to take this game? It is, in fact, our boy Popsicle, Rocket Man himself. 4-3 is the score for Calgary. So Calgary goes up 3-2 in their series, and they're looking to defeat the Chicago Blackhawks. 0-0 after 1 period. Chicago, with a goal from Boisvert after 2 periods, goes up 1-0. But Calgary, with Sharangovich and Olofsson, get 2 goals in the period to win the series 4-2. So now we are in the Stanley Cup final. We got the Calgary Flames versus the Florida Panthers. From my perspective, in my opinion, it's really unfortunate to see Florida in a Stanley Cup final again. Even though it is a consolation Stanley Cup final, it still hurts.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
But Calgary looking to take the Consolation Cup to Canada. Through 3 rounds of the playoffs, Backlund, Teravainen are your point leaders. Teravainen didn't have as big of a series as he had hoped for, but Backlund, look at that. Lardis as well. Excellent playoffs, 12 goals in 18 games. You really can't complain about that. But sneaking up, AJ Greer, who knows, maybe he'll have one really outstanding Stanley Cup Finals. Let's see what happens here. Jump into game 1. After the first period, Calgary goes up 2-1. They've got the home ice advantage in this series. Score is now even at 4-4. Who takes game 1? It is Florida with another goal from AJ Greer. Florida takes game 1. Jumping now to game 2. Calgary's looking to strike back this game. Florida's looking to increase their lead. What's going to happen? It's 2-2 after 1. Greer with another goal, because why not? 7-4 for Florida. Oh my goodness. That is a crazy 7-goal period. That's a lot to unpack. Tkachuk gets a pair of power play goals So special teams are really working for Florida right now. And they hold on to that lead to take a 2-0 series lead going back home. After the first period of game 3, Florida is up 2-0 with a goal from AJ Greer. They go up 3-0. Noah Gregor gets a goal. And are they potentially going to be sweeping Calgary? We're going to have to see, because they win this game 3-0. They go up in the series 3-0. And the final game now is going to be in Florida at home. Or what could be the final game at home. Florida goes up 2-1 here in the first period. They go up 5-1, and it is really looking like it's going to be Florida's game. AJ Greer gets another goal. Seth Jones with his second goal of the game. But let's see what happens here in the third period. Calgary really needs a miracle, but it looks like Florida is going to be the team. With another goal from Sebranjo, it's looking like this is going to be Florida's game, friends. Florida is going to be the consolation Stanley Cup champions. Let's jump into this game, see them hoist the cup here. It's the battle of the Reds, and Florida and Calgary. What a series. Florida, that's going to be 2 sweeps in a row for the Florida Panthers. We'll watch the final minute of gameplay. I'm not playing. I've selected the computer, so we're just watching right now. Florida's just trying to kill off the clock. And Kulikov gonna dump the puck in, but first he gets hit by a Flames player. Coronado, they're playing for pride at this point. Try to get some goals here. Bobrovsky is just standing on his head all playoffs long. Bob's on the case. Interception by White Cloud. Once again, Calgary's just playing for pride, trying to just maybe score a late goal to take a little bit of life out of the crowd, but it's a Stanley Cup, so surely the crowd is absolutely buzzing right now. We got an icing call. Oh, actually no icing. That's shocking. But in 3, 2, 1, Florida has done it, and they have won the Stanley Cup, the consolation Stanley Cup. There's a little bit of an asterisk besides that, but nonetheless, the Stanley Cup champions are the Florida Panthers. Who would have thought it? We got our handshakes here. I'm very curious to see who's going to be the Conn Smythe winner, and it's Mackie Samoskevich. Very, very interesting. We're gonna have to take a look at the stats after this to see how he did. I thought they would have given it to AJ Greer, because wow, that was quite a show he put on. But the Stanley Cup now is being awarded to Sashay Barkov. Actually, oh wait, no, he's injured. That's right. So Matthew Tkachuk's gonna hoist the Stanley Cup, and just when you thought your gears couldn't have been grinded a little bit more, here we are watching Matthew Tkachuk lift the trophy again.
You just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
The playoffs have ended, and the Florida Panthers are the Stanley Cup champions. Let's take a look at these point totals. Okay, so Samoskevich did in fact lead the league in points. He only had 5 goals, but racked up a ton of assists. Close second was Matthew Tkachuk. Your goal leaders for the playoffs, the man, the myth, the legend himself, AJ Greer was a goal leader. He only had 4 assists, so didn't put up as many points as Tkachuk and Samoskevich. If we look at goalies, Bob's on the case. Only 4 losses in the whole Stanley Cup playoffs. He only had 4 losses. 16 wins, 4 losses, 2 shutouts. Honestly, he could have been a pretty good candidate for the trophy as well. But out of the teams that made it to the end, Bobrovsky, he was really up there. His goals against average wasn't the greatest, I should say, but you can't complain when a goalie gets you 16 wins in a playoffs. You never complain about that. But guys, that is it for this episode. The Florida Panthers, even though it is a consolation bracket, they have etched their name on the winning title once again. Guys, let me know if you like this kind of content. It was very fun to make on my part, and so make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Welch On-Ice keeps making videos, so you'll want to be subscribed if you want to keep in touch with what's going on here. But yeah, share this with a friend, and that's it for this episode, guys. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.